Hello to you, my fellow Dark Ones. How are you guys doing today? How's life? Today we want to do something slightly crazy. Kill the Chaos Guardian. I have trained myself in the arts of darkness, thanks to Prince Thomas. Thank you so much. Would you like to join? Probably not. If you guys remember, last episode we went to a dimension called Pixonia, and that's going to help us a lot. How? I will tell you. First things first, we need some rock crystals. That's going to give us the rock crystal seed. The seed goes inside the phytogenic insulator and we get the essence. Thanks to Pixonia and the possessed fluids, we can craft any max size attuned celestial crystal that we want. This one is called Pelotrio. This is Mineralis. You can easily guess which one is Horologium. And the final one is Octans. Our iridescent altar has to be set to Armara, and what we are going to craft with these items is the Dinatos crystal. That should be the final crystal. I love the animation. The only thing remaining is to get 4 lumium singularities like so, and 1 fading matter. That gives us the mantle of the stars. And that's very important because that's plus 80% chaos resistance. And most importantly, it has last stand 30. Aside from it from looking super fancy, we're going to tank 80% of the damage that the Chaos Guardian does. I have also crafted a duped electrode with Unbreaking 250. We just need a purple soul. I left my mantle to be sharpened, but in any case, we put Unbreaking 250 on it. You guys probably know this, but the Chaos Guardian does not do normal damage. It's chaos damage. So even though we have tons of resistance and tons of hearts and tons of armor, it's not gonna count for anything. What is going to count is the last stand, and we need a lot of experience. 981 levels. We can't also really kill the Chaos Guardian without destroying the crystals, which is going to be a pain, and that is where my training comes in with Prince Thomas. We're gonna use mob crushers, and in order not to lose my items, we're going to use the Charm of Keeping, 1 stack of them, from the Twilight Forests. Another thing that you should remember is that the Chaos Guardian is found every 10,000 blocks in the end, so I'm just going east for 10,000 blocks, which is not fun. The Chaos Island should spawn any second. That's it. So we're going to have a waypoint so that we can run away. And one thing that I forgot to bring was some angel blocks. Thankfully the world backup is also done. So if I make a boo-boo, you will never know. No, you will probably know. Hello Chaos. We run. Chaos is fast. There he is actually. I got hit and didn't die. That's good. Remember, this is not a fight that we can tank. Here's what we're going to do. Angel block, grinder, some upgrades, range add-on, and a flux point. And we run. Actually, this is a fight that we can tank. Not much though. He's being damaged. That took a lot of damage. It's nice, he's getting damaged again. Almost dead. That went well. Thank you, Prince Thomas. Wow, this place is laggy. The crystals are blowing up. There's a wizard. So where the lightning hits is where the chaos crystal is. We're on it. Ha! Are you angry? I'm sorry I made you angry. A few things that we have to make sure. This is home. We need to be able to teleport back home. We have enough space in our inventory and our magnet is on. Let's break it. And we got it. We go home. We have the chaos shards. And some lag. I thought maybe we should bring back Prince Thomas to guide us in darkness. Also, don't ask about the syringe. I injected him a bit. The mantle of the stars looks amazing, but I hate the particle effects. So we're not gonna wear that unless we have to. Hello, Prince Thomas. Despite what a lot of you think, that actually went surprisingly well. It was easier than wearing the Draconic armor. Although I don't think this applies only to this mod pack because you will have last stand in 1.12. Last stand is the most important bit. Anywho, you might notice that we have a tiny chaos fragment, which we found like 200 episodes ago, and we have 5 chaos shards. That's the one that we want. I made a calculation, it was not really worth it to go after like 280 of these tiny chaos fragments to just get a shard. But what do we want it for? The charged draconium block. We can have 2. Let's make 2. The block that I have just crafted is going to give us a machine called the Chaotic Condenser. What does it do? Good question. You give it power and it gives you tiny chaos fragments, which you can combine in order to get bigger fragments, and yes, I know you can automate it with wood as well. But for the moment I just want a teeny tiny bit of chaos fragments because for wood there is actually a better option. We can have an ender shard which is fully programmed, so we just need a teeny tiny bit of the tiny ones. So that will be done later on when we need to. If I have not done any miscalculations, here are the chaotic condensers. And yeah, I have done some miscalculation, it's fine. Yeah, it was a bit chunkier than I was expecting, but it's good. It fits. Each one of these guys is going to require 400,000 RF in order to operate, and every 20 seconds we get a teeny tiny chaos fragment. Yeah, So far we have 10. It's not much, but it will do. So now that we have chaos shards, what do we want to do? There is something called ME Extended Processing Pattern Terminal, which does require Prometheum, which we got I think 2 episodes ago, as well as the chaos fragments. I have already set up the patterns, and yes, it's a fusion crafting recipe, so it takes time. Normally when you want to encode a processing pattern with applied energistics, you can have 9 inputs and 3 outputs. With the guide that we just crafted, you can have 16 inputs and 6 outputs. It's actually quite useful. And the first pattern that we're going to encode with that thing is that one sednonite, half a stack of oxidized ferric sand, you do find it on Osiris, the first planet that we visited, is going to give us every single demon wheel crystal. That is done in the corrupted library, which I think it's this one. Yeah, let's order some wheel and see if it works. Yeah, you get all. Cool. And one of the main reasons that I have done that is because of lag. So we have this setup for making demon wheel crystals. This is fine, I don't really mind it being there, but what is going to cause a problem is actually the mob farm that we have. You do get a ton of endermen, they teleport away, they cause lag. We don't need this setup. Talking about endermen, here's a jerk. I had 2 rituals, I had to remove them. But this system I like, we're just gonna keep it. And it does make me feel very sad, because I spend a lot of time on this and it's a very good system. The problem is, I used like maybe 100 shards, and that's it. So you don't need this setup, you just needed a ritual. A garbage ritual would have done. I think this was originally how you were meant to go, but then they added something called sednonite so that everything is simple. That's why sednonite actually solves a lot of problems. Because I think people don't really like magic. Nagging aside, life must go on. We do have a main quest line that I like to follow. Whenever we hit a wall, we're going to focus on the side quests. You know, exactly like what we did with Mythic processors. Our next quest is to make another machine called the Mythic Excavation Engine. What does it do? Well, it's a block that is used in the future resource miners. It also has a bunch of other uses, but that's the main point. One of its crafting components is the complex crankshaft, and it does require a few arrow shafts. Thankfully, we already have extra smart outputs. I put the cast in, so these can go in. And let me try to figure out what else do we need. Plates are not a problem. The dreaded steel rod is a problem. We need a lathe. It comes from the orbital coalstone. What? Setna will guide you. Didn't we do this already? Energy hive. Yeah, that is our orbital coalstone. There's nothing in it. Oh, this is where I got the vox blocks. Okay, I was confused. But seriously, there's nothing here. And the reason that it's not in the coalstone is that it's in the system. I already picked it up. I have also assembled the lathe. We're just missing this block. Makes it go faster. Another thing that I have done is that I have installed an ender chest so that we can auto-craft the rods. Everything that we have done so far just makes us the crankshaft. Now we need the complex gearbox. It has an amazing recipe, I know, but thankfully there is a gear working die, which is a Mythic processor. So maybe we should actually use that one. I just added the Mythic processor for making gears, and let's see what we're missing. Complex gearbox, 100. Okay, the ones from Ender.io are fine. We're missing a bunch of alloys. Oh my goodness, vibranium alloy. How do you make it even? Oh, it's cheap-ish. So it knows how to make the hot vibranium alloy. It doesn't know how to cool it down because our cooler, the vacuum freezer, is over there. Where do we put it? There's so many multi-blocks, you can't fit them anywhere. We do cheaty placement. I'll put it here. A bunch more patterns, and yeah, now we should be able to craft the complex gearbox. It does take a bit of time. Not really. We have the one. However, I realized one of my main problems is the crafting of dragon steel ingots. Apparently there's a better recipe, you can just craft a block. Takes a bit longer and you get 9 ingots, but if I want to craft 1 ingot, it actually takes a lot of time. Just look. That's horrifying. Let's just have a recipe for the blocks. Way better. Now that we have the complex crankshaft and the complex gearbox, all we need is to make the high strength transmission. That's inside an assembling machine or a Mythic processor, and I have already set the pattern. So if we want 10 of them, we can just craft it. Yeah, so from the recipe of the Mythic Excavation Engine, which is our next quest, we have almost everything except the Universal Booster. And from the Universal Booster, we have the Key of Pixonia, we have the Octatic Capacitor, Wildwood Heart we're going to fix now, but it also requires something called Ethereal Infusion Stone, which does require something called Limp of Pixonia, and that comes from Molten Salt Fission, from a mod whose name I shall not mention, and I'm going to be very honest with you, I don't know how to make a molten salt reactor. I was watching the mod spotlight and I think the mod developer was even confused, so we will leave that for a future episode. I need to do that, I need it for a lot of things. However, the Wildwood Heart is something that I think we should be able to fix relatively easy. The only problem is that we dismantled our Wildwood portal and we need to assemble it again. Yeah. Exactly like that. The thing is, in order to make the Wildwood heart, what we're going to need is Wildwood gems, which does come from Wildwood soul. We have already done something similar with Eden soul and we can make the heart of Eden, but I did forget to capture a mob from here. How do we get a mob? There's just a mushroom here. Any mob will do. Yeah, it's fully programmed now. We can go home. Also, I just figured out something. These are free blocks and we can harvest them. They're expensive. We don't have to craft them ever again. We just make a portal, break the blocks. Because we can teleport home, obviously. The reason that I captured the mob was that I wanted to make a wood farm out of it. This one is for wisp, and we don't really need the wisps anymore, because now we're just interested in Wildwood heart. Yeah, we're getting it. I just have to set filters. If we do manage to get one at least, one day. Wait, shouldn't I get one? I installed a wisp wood farm a long time ago, and I never put an ender chest for it. No wonder we never had crystals. Or I removed the ender chest for it and I never remembered. So am I getting it? That was a horrifying mistake, but that's what we want. Wildwood soul. The magic meat? I don't think we need that. Just one sample. It has been a while later and I have been trying to clean up the base and I missed the block. As usual. Also, Prince Thomas seems to be stuck. Should we help him? No, he's already capable. But for the rest of today's episode, what we're going to try and do is to optimize a few processes and also clean up a bit of my JEI bookmarks. So one of the things that you should remember is that now we have access to mythic processors, correct? Not every single recipe can be processed inside the mythic processors, some of them still require the single block machines. So I do have to reorganize this room a bit and also this small hut that we have over here and try to finish them at least. Okay, it has been a while later and there has been a few changes around the base. First off, we don't have the reactor, we don't have the turbines. I have been trying my best to do some decorations, it's not going well. Most of the machines from our machine room have been moved to another location and only the fluids remain. And also this redstone furnace, which I have no idea what it does. Since mythic processors are taking care of like 90% of our crafting jobs, we only have this machine room, which does take care of anything else which the mythic processors can't do. And yeah, I did clean up the base. By a teeny tiny bit. Since we no longer have a reactor and we need a source of cyanide or plutonium, I do have a plutonium B. Which is actually funny because if you centrifuge a plutonium comb, you get cyanide. And you get plutonium from cyanide comb, which is weird. I have also installed a few monitors so that I know what items I have to produce so that the crafting cards are not always busy, because they take space in my CPUs. Anyways, what is the plan? Well, we need to prepare for the next episode. And there are teeny tiny things that we have to do. For example, one of the things that I really need to start producing is helium from a mod whose name I shall not mention, because I need the cooler. That does require thorium 230, and even though I have it on auto crafting, I don't know who the hell is going to produce it. Probably that's a bad idea. Yep. Let's not produce it. If we do manage to make ourselves a decay hastener, our life is going to be easier, because you get thorium from uranium. And I have like 18,000 of these. Oh my goodness, this place is dark. Don't know where to place it. We place you here. Here is your pattern for thorium. And honestly, I think we're done. Can I have like 100? Yes, lovely. We don't have zirconium. It's been a while, I don't really remember what the hell is zirconium, isn't it you? Maybe I just don't have a pattern. Mythic processor, furnace. So you go there. Does that mean I can have 2 dense helium collectors? Cool. I need to make extra reactors and I need more coolers. For better configuration. Oops, I kind of forgot that making helium is a bit more complicated. This is helium the gas, we need to convert it into a fluid. What that basically means is that we need a supercooler and then the helium collector. Yeah, that's making me liquid helium. Still, that's not going into the fluid enricher. Output to the bottom, input from the top, and it doesn't go in. Yes, wrong machine. It was not the fluid enricher, it was the fluid infuser. And now we do have the helium coolers on auto crafting, which is perfect. You just output to the bottom. Yep, very perfect. So that is going to be for fission reactors. Unfortunately, next episode we also have to make a molten salt reactor. Well, maybe not next episode, but generally we have to make a molten salt reactor as soon as possible if we want to progress. If that is the case, let us try to make a few patterns. Obviously, we need the controller. So there you go. Reactor wall is a thing. So there you go. The glass itself is not a problem, and we're not going to use it anyways. Reactor frame. Oops. Well, that's another recipe apparently. Then there is a beam. I have no idea what these things are. There is apparently a vent. Horrifying recipe. And I have no idea what the hell this is. What? Well, let's have the pattern for it. Then we'll figure it out. I guess the coolant. Yeah, the rest of them are normal crafting. Okay. Now that we have the patterns, let us see what the hell are we missing. So, reactor casing. And by casing, I just mean the wall. Can we have 100? We're missing tellurium crystals. Okay, it's not fully on auto-crafting, but it shouldn't be that hard. We just need the dense carbon cluster. And yeah, we just need Dredia, which we already have. Nice. Okay. We're getting it. Just to make sure, for 200 of that, we're not missing much, right? That one has EMC. Okay, so if we want to have reactor walls, we can have 300 of them. Tellurium is not a problem. The vent, if we want to have 10, is a problem. Well, honestly, not a big problem. No clue what the vessel is, but that's... Oh my goodness, what the hell are these? Thanks to Mythic processors, we no longer need a blast furnace. That is the recipe. Zircaloy is a combination of tin and zirconium, which is perfectly fine. Then there's fiery rhenium. You know, you have to automate like 5 different ingots just to get a casing. Oh boy, I don't even know how this works. I know that rhenium is not the problem, because we do have an excavator which is giving us rhenium, but this is done inside a Dragonfire Crucible. What is a Dragonfire Crucible? It's that one. Eternal Dragonfire was already on auto-crafting. I don't really remember how we did that, but Fiery Rhenium Ingot is also on auto-crafting. We even have the one. I just tried it. And this is the second one. Perfect. However, for the vessel, we're missing the Bismuth cluster, and this is something that I have been seeing for a very long time. We need the Midnight sight. And I guess we need to have a few of them if we want to do some auto-crafting. Well, minimum we need 2. It's just Midnight. It's made out of 2 parts. This is the easier part, the handle. I should always check the essentials because we're always out of something. Yeah, now it's going in. Very cool. We have a handle. We actually need to have 2 of them. The second part was a bit of an issue. I just made 1. This should be the second one. It takes time. It does require a ton of essentia. And I just realized we actually don't need to have 2 of them. We need to have like 6, 7. But that is way later, so I'm not that picky. Are you gonna eat the entire primordial pearl? What a jerk. Yeah, I'm telling you, it does eat the essentia. Well, for making the actual molten salt reactor, we're done. But very soon we are going to go to another dimension, and in order to dupe something from that dimension, we need another one and we need to upgrade it. And it just ate my primordial pearl. These are full. Is that Prince Thomas? Next to the Tree of Life. Yeah. He's just walking around, it's fine. So for some reason, what we need to do is that we need to make something called a bismuth cluster. And it does require a native copper cluster. Well, there are 2 ways of getting that. This is one of the recipes inside the crucible, but obviously we can also use the primal crusher. There's a chance of getting the cluster. Do you have silk touch? No, you have fortune. Okay, we got some. 4. If that is the case, let us try to gather, I don't know, 1 stack of copper ore, because using the primal crusher, it's going to be like getting flint from gravel. We will continuously break the ores until we get enough clusters. Am I voiding copper? I forgot about the player chest. It's okay. I'll gather some more. Minus the teeny tiny boo-boo. This is the ore dabbling system from Thaumcraft, so it's relatively easy. We already have 41, and we have 55. That's more than enough. Let's make ourselves some bismuth. So for the vessel, we're not missing anything, but we can only make like... That's not much. It consumes 4. But yeah, we can make some. So that's good. So for the molten salt reactor, we don't really have an issue in order to make the actual reactor. It's just that I don't know how to make it. So in between today and the next episode, I'm actually going to try and watch a tutorial and try to understand it. It's been maybe an hour and a half later because, well, these things take a lot of time. But yeah, that is a molten salt reactor. Let us try something. Also, it's a teeny tiny one because believe me, the blocks are crazy expensive. What I need at this very moment is called the Limp of Pixonia. We need to smelt down some augurite. That gives us the molten augurite. That goes inside a fluid enricher. And there was a weird dust that I automated like 100 million years ago. We mix them together and we get something called molten primal augurite. And that's the thing that has to go inside the molten salt reactor so that we get Limp of Pixonia. The molten primal augurite is apparently something like a fuel. And this is the waste. I just put it inside a tank from Ender.io, and let me try to explain to you how the molten salt reactor works. Well, first off, around the corners, we do have the frame. These are the walls which cover everything, and in the front I do have the glass and the controller. I have 1 row of salt fission vessels and 1 row of salt coolant heaters. The fission vessel is where the fuel is going to flow, and the coolant heater is where the cooler is going to flow. So let's put some augurite in there. It's going in, okay. I'm not exactly sure, but cryotium should be an acceptable coolant. And we also need a lever. Are you doing anything? No. So apparently we have to say depleted out on one side, like so that the depleted fuel flows. That could be a thing. Ah, yes. We need to cover it. Again, nothing is happening. Okay, the augurite is still inside the vent. Let's turn it off. Maybe we have to pump in the fluids? Still doesn't say anything. Okay, we're gaining heat. Are we gaining garbage? Let's do the same thing with the coolant heater, I guess. Okay, this is such a confusing mod, but I think I'm getting this. Look at this vessel. What do you see inside? Limp of Ixonia. Also, gelid cryotium is not an acceptable coolant. What you need to do is to use the sodium-potassium cryotium mixture. We are producing it somewhere over there, you know, in that stupid tunnel. So if I cover it one more time and give it a redstone signal, are you cooling down? You're not cooling down, but you are making limp of Pixonia? Yeah, we just got 100 millibuckets. I wasted like 37 millibuckets, so we're kind of screwed. I just need one more. I think with the heat we will be able to survive, then I will fix it, don't you worry. Yes, that's enough. 181 millibuckets. For the moment, let's put it back inside the tank. Lovely. We shall place it inside a fluid infuser. It went in. Lovely. And we just need vibranium ingots. And upgrades. That gives us the ethereal infusion stone. Aha. And yes, it does cause radiation, but radiation is off. I turned it off. And what does that do? Well, it gives us the universal booster. Well, actually, we need two of them. And what do we do with the universal booster? Good question. We can make the mythic excavation engine. Did I set a pattern for it? No. Apparently, this is the recipe that we have to use at this very moment. So let's get our patterns. Oh, hello. You were waiting for me. So voila, that is the pattern. Now we have it on auto crafting and we have all the ingredients. Perfection at its finest. That should be a quest. Come on. Yay! So next episode we can make the Wildwood store and we will be at chapter 6. And I will try to learn more about the molten salt reactor because, well, everybody who mentions anything about it is just incomprehensible. At least to me. But with that, ladies and gentlemen, I think it's also a good time to wrap up the episode. And no, I have no idea what I'm doing. But thank you so much for watching and I hope you enjoyed it. Till the next one. Bye bye.